Welcome to another video yet again. So you can see on my last video just 2 days ago, I did call out ticker EFOI. You can see in the top right, I did call this one out at $1.29. Now if we pull up the chart, you can see the next day this one did run from $1.29 all the way to highs of $3.19 for just around a massive 150% plus gainer. So drop a quick like for me on this video if you are enjoying this content. It does really help me out. I have nothing at all to sell you guys, and these alerts are completely free, and make sure you have the notification bell turned on because these alerts are extremely time sensitive. I don't do any promotions, guys. I don't get paid to cover these stocks. I am looking and doing a ton of research, finding the ones that I think are the best options in the penny stock market. So just remember that. If you look at the chart right here, after this run happened, one day after this massive run happened, the stock is still up 100% from that initial alert. So that should tell you something right there. So in this video, I do have an extremely undervalued and profitable penny stock that has not diluted any shares since 2022. They have zero debt with only $490,000 in total liabilities compared to over $20 million in total assets, sitting at a tiny $12 million valuation. So that just shows how undervalued this one is. And they have zero open dilution filings, which is extremely rare. And they are cash flow positive, and they do have over $3 million total in cash. And the stock does have a tiny microscopic 2 million share float with an active $2 million share buyback going on. So looking at the chart, it is completely bottomed out with very nice range. Last time I did hit this bottomed out area, it did run to $5 plus, and currently this stock is sitting around $2 per share, and insiders have continued to purchase shares. None have sold, and the CEO continues to load up. Also, guys, they did just secure a massive $10 million deal earlier in the month, and their business has been picking up steam. So this is a video you really want to watch all the way until the end so you do not miss the extra exclusive information I will be talking about. The stock I'm talking about in this video is MCVT, which is Mill City Ventures. This is currently trading around $2.17. So this is a non-bank lender and specialty finance company. So looking on dilution tracker, you can see the float is sitting around 2 million shares, a very small float. So with volume, this one can see a parabolic type run. Also, guys, you should note that historically, they have not really diluted any shares since 2022. So that's a very nice sign right here. It means whenever these do have these crazy runs, there's not going to be any offerings or nothing like that. And the company is cash flow positive. Like I said, zero open dilution filings. Looks like insiders and institutions have completely locked up most of the 6.4 million outstanding share count. And looking at the short shares available to borrow on IBKR, is sitting at 8,000 shares. So if you look at the Fintel data as well in Ortex, it's just showing that, shorts are running out of shares to borrow. Now, this doesn't mean they can't, short the stock. There's other ways to get shares, but it is showing that the supply of shares to short is very low and decreasing, which is a very positive sign. So that is something that we really need to consider with ticker MCVT. So as of right now, this one is currently trading at $2.18. And you can see on the daily chart, we are coming off of a double bottom. This one is completely bottomed out, and it does have very nice range as it did run, to a very high level after reaching this level in the past. So looks like the MACD is close to switching over. Now, if we go to the weekly time frame, we do have the same. We actually have a triple bottom. It actually touched this way more than 3 times, and every time we do touch this level, it does have a significant spike upwards. So that is, chart is looking like a lot of accumulation has been taking place lately on the weekly and on the daily as well. And then looking on the monthly time frame, we are coming off of a double bottom. So if we zoom out on this chart and we observe the recent activity that has been going on, you can see this one looks like it was completely manipulated and shorted down. And that kind of does explain why the shares available to borrow is so low. And, it's not going to be a ton of shares shorted, but whenever you do have a free float or a float that is a nano float or, 2 million, 1 million, 2 million shares, whenever these shorts are forced to cover, it does cause an insane amount of buying pressure, helping this one continue to move up. So that is worth noting. Looking at their financials, they do have real revenue coming in and they are a profitable business. Keep in mind, you always have 3 zeros to these numbers, but for their last quarter, they did $711,000 in total revenue, and their net income was $463,000, making it their most profitable quarter in the last year. So that was very impressive. And they, their margins are extremely good, especially in terms of their net income. And looking at their balance sheet, they do have $3.1 million cash in the bank, with $20.3 million in total assets compared to $490,000 in total liabilities. So this is one of the best balance sheets you're going to find for a penny stock. So they have been very active with their press releases. So we're going to look at that in just a second. But just 4 months ago, near the end of the year last year, they did announce a $2 million stock repurchase program. So considering the float is already very small with no dilution, this is very massive, and they haven't really initiated this yet. So this is a big catalyst to look out for. So whenever a company does initiate a repurchase program or a share buyback, it's the same thing, but the company is just basically using cash and buying back shares, removing them from the market. So the total outstanding share count would decrease. So let's say they wanted to buy $2 million worth, which would be around 1 million shares in this case. The outstanding share count would go from 6.4 million shares all the way down to 5.4 million. So if you own shares, obviously your equity in the company and the value of those shares does increase. And, obviously the float decreases and the outstanding share count decreases as well, just helping the company out regardless. So it's always a very good sign when this does happen. And if they did initiate this buyback at the current price, the float would go from 2.4 million shares all the way down to around 1.5 million total shares, which would attract more retail investors. So looking at their latest press releases, just earlier in the month, they did secure a $10 million deal. It says Mill City Ventures collateralizes $10 million loan to Mustang Funding. So they make their money by, loans, and they collect interest. So this is a very hot sector as interest rates are about to or expected to go down. So that's, their sector is completely going to start heating up once that happens regardless. And looking at their latest PRs, they have been extremely active. So going back to the chart right here, this one is currently down 4% in after hours, trading just over $2. The market cap is currently sitting at $13.9 million, just under $14 million. So this one really does have a lot of potential right here. Ticker MCVT, Mill City Ventures, and I believe that's all I have for this stock. Let me know in the comments what you think about this play, any other plays you're watching, and I will see you on the next video.